How to find a high quality woman when I'm 14 to 15. Dear Hamza, I'm 14 and I do self-improvement for about 2 years. I have a self-improvement YouTube channel with almost 200 subscribers and I get 250 views on average. Very nice. I have a pretty aesthetic physique for my age. Wow, very nice. Especially for 14, 15. You look good, man. Mostly from doing track and field. How do I find a high-value girl at this age? How does one even look like? I would date a girl that's also on self-improvements, that doesn't just scroll on TikTok every day and can't even do one push-up. But it's really hard to find someone like that my age. It is hard to find a 14-year-old guy on self-improvement, but a girl, I would need to date someone a few years older than me. Although a lot of people, when they see me for the first time, they guess I'm 16. I can't really imagine dating a 16-year-old girl. They seem on another level to me. Plus, I need to compete with 19-year-old motherfuckers for them. But maybe I could attract one because I'm pretty high status in our school and in our town. What should I do? Should I try to attract an older girl, lower my standards, or something else? I think having more experience with girls would really help me with being a better self-improvement YouTuber. So first of all, for everyone who's watching this, there's a quick action step for you right now. Scroll down and go click on the subscribe button on this channel right now. The reason is because if you subscribe, this channel gets bigger, which means more guys find videos like this, which means more guys get onto self-improvement, more friends for you. So scroll down and subscribe right now. Let's see what the comments say. He's got loads of comments on this post. David said, focus on yourself. You're too young for a relationship. Just like you said, it's too hard to look for like-minded people in the modern world, let alone at the young and immature age of 14. Instead of looking for a woman, be 100% on self-improvement and make friends in this community. Regular calls, accountability, and potentially a meetup if you live nearby. Preston said, focus on your purpose or work for now. Date or hang out with girls if the opportunity arises, but don't seek it out. Like David said, focus on self-improvement and brotherhood. Personally, I wouldn't be dating seriously until 20 to 25, so I've got nearly 10 years to truly build my empire and myself. I half agree with these guys. In the self-improvement space, in the red pill masculine space, it's this idea that, you shouldn't even date, you should just focus on yourself. I 100% agree. You should prioritize yourself, prioritize your work, your fitness, always, always above women. But I actually think that focusing on yourself and your development as a man, that includes integrating love into it. If you can get like a girlfriend when you're 14 and know how to speak to a girl and get some kind of experience when you're young with a pretty good, wholesome girl, that can be very valuable. Now, at the same time, you don't want to go and get an experience with a low quality girl. So we asked, like, should I lower my standards? And I think you shouldn't. I think Pavel should watch a video that's on my channel saying, what age should you start dating, or if you need experience to get girls, whatever. Basically, my belief is you should never lower your standards when it comes to getting into a relationship with a girl. Never go and date a girl that you think is like below your standards, that you can't take seriously. That's a Jessica that's doing the bad habits. Never, ever, ever do that. But sometimes, genuinely, at 14, 15, 16 years old, you can meet a girl who's really, really high quality. I see this, and it's not that rare, that like there's a 16 or 17-year-old guy who watches my videos, and he'll talk about his girlfriend and post pictures of her, and I'm literally thinking, like, not to sound like a pedophile or anything, but like, she's very, very cute. Like, she's very beautiful, as like, a young girl is. And also the traits that he's defining, she's kind of like a fucking catch. Like, she's like an 8 or a 9 out of 10. And he's honestly, when you're young, you're only like a 3 out of 10 because, you're broke. You're still living with like, you're under your parents' rule and everything, right? So I see this often, and you guys probably do, like whoever's watching this, you probably do, and you've seen this with the guys in your life, that there's always that one kid in high school who's literally got like a wife quality girl already, and that one guy is like barely a 5 out of 10. He's just kind of like average. He barely even goes to the gym, whatever. He's a normal guy. He's kind of funny, whatever, and he's got like kind of like a wife quality girl who's pretty attractive. She's not like, some stunning Instagram model, fine, but she's like, as like normal women go, she's really attractive, but she's got really good traits. Parents are together. doesn't do any drugs or bad habits or anything. That's like a wife right there. And you can actually meet women like that when you're 15, 16, 17 years old. There's this weird, like, I was thinking about this yesterday, so I want to give you this before I've ever like put it into thoughts. When you're in high school, from the ages of like 15 to 18, there's this weird dynamic where young guys who aren't actually like that high value or status can actually attract like wife quality girls, because you're in this vacuum of high school. The moment that you get out of high school, it's weird. It's like you've got no chance. So basically, you can be a 16-year-old in high school and attract a genuine 8 or a 9 out of 10, like beautiful wife quality girl who's like 16 years old, never really dated a guy before you. Awesome. You're both 16. It's amazing, right? What's interesting is the moment you leave high school, it completely stops. The moment you leave high school, that chance goes, and suddenly that reality of like life comes in, especially when you hit 18, where she can go out and go get attention from guys who are 22, who have got cars, who've got money, who've been going to the gym for 6 years, and you're still there like 18-year-old, can't even grow facial hair. So in high school, I actually think it's kind of a weirdly like good place to find a high quality girl, because if you meet a girl who's 16 years old, most likely she's not going to be getting messages from guys in Dubai. She's not going to be going out drinking and getting attention from guys who are 22 in the club. It's a vacuum. And so that can be very powerful, to be open to potentially meeting like a high school sweetheart who's literally like so high quality. You don't lower your standards for any girl that you can get right now, but you just kind of look out for this dynamic where there's a girl who basically, she kind of like doesn't even know her value yet, because she hasn't been approached by that many guys. She only hit puberty a few years ago. She looks quite young, so many like older guys aren't speaking to her. She isn't going out to clubs or to parties just yet. And if you end up like securing a girl like that and bringing her even more onto self-improvement, then both of you have like met at such a young age. It's wholesome as fuck. You're both climbing up. She's got like really good like history baseline. She's never even done drugs or anything. That can be a really good situation to get yourself into. So my advice, first of all, we'll keep reading the comments, but my advice to Pavel and for other guys in this situation, be open to it. Don't think that you're going out to find these women. Don't constantly message girls on Instagram. Don't get into that, that disgusting rut where you're constantly messaging girls and you're checking messages and you're hoping that she's replied. Don't get into that. All your focus, all your priority is on your work, your fitness, your growth. But keep your eyes open for a girl who's got loads of green flags. Keep your eyes open for a girl who's got like really, really high quality, right? And having high standards. And then what you do, you start setting up your life in a way that would be super easy for you to attract a girl like that. How do you do that? You start, for example, being super social in your school, in your town, and doing things that, for example, girls will notice you there as well. These girls, you might not even want to date them, but you just keep basically every girl that is around you right now, guys are thirsting over them, right? Imagine you're the one guy who you meet a girl, a couple of girls, in your like friendship group, and you know that they're not wife quality. You know that they're not that high standards, right? You don't lower your standards and you treat them just like friends with respect. And you're just like this, like almost like a slight like big brother towards them, right? You never put on any kind of sexual game, or you never try and flirt with them or anything. You always just try and support them like you're their big brother. When they hear of one of their girlfriends getting single, they're going to mention you to her. Well, you can literally go up to these girls that you're kind of like friends with and tell them that what kind of girl you're looking for, and ask them to suggest someone and ask them to literally introduce you guys, and they actually will. At this age, there's a few like big ways to attract girls, and most guys go down the sort of like TikTok route, and that can be helpful, but the issue is like the kind of girls you attract, like he said, it's like you don't want to be attracting those kinds of girls, right? So the single greatest way for you to be meeting these like high quality girls that you want to meet right now is to start in your social life. Be super social with the guys, start inviting girls, but you be like more like a big brother. Don't flirt with those girls, and ask them to intro you with a girl that you like, you define to them, okay, I want a girl who's like this, who's like this, who's like this. I never use TikTok. Do you know any, like, are you friends with any girls who don't have TikTok? And they'll be like, oh yeah, like Sarah doesn't even use TikTok. It's weird. All she does is like go to the church and spend time with her brother and her father. And you're thinking like, yeah, that's my fucking wife. Where is she? Like, send me, what's her, like, ask her like for her Snapchat, whatever. Make like an introduction, or bring her, like, we're all going to go to the cinema next Saturday. Bring her too. I really want to meet a girl like that because I don't go on TikTok and I want to meet a girl. That's how you end up meeting like a high quality girl that you don't know of at this age. You get her friends who are your friends to introduce her to you, and they'll hype you up because you haven't been trying to sleep with these other girls. So basically, don't sleep with the girls who are lower than your standards. Be this like respectful big brother for them. Look out for them. Be funny, be social, look attractive, and these girls will do all the selling to your dream woman for you. Aaron said, hey, Pavel, I relate to your situation quite a lot. So Aaron's 13 years old. It does feel like something missing from my life, right? The last piece to complete the puzzle. But that's an illusion. You will always feel this pull toward femininity. We can only accept it. An important thing we must do at this age is to learn how to enjoy our own company. If we don't, why would anyone else? We will look back one day and see ourselves being silly overthinking this stuff. Obsess yourself with a crazy goal that gives you a lifetime story and builds your character. Run a marathon, it's life-changing. This is good advice, but I will say, like, it's not really an illusion. It really is like a basic need of humans to feel like you've got some kind of love and intimacy. And the truth is that, like, we're not men at this age anymore. But genetically, when a man hits puberty and is literally 14 years old, and a girl hits puberty and she's like 13 years old, genetically, that's apparently when people would start coupling up together and literally having sex, like, you know, just a few hundred years ago. Of course, that's like it's not right, it's too young, whatever. But there's a reason why we get these impulses at this age. And think about how difficult it is universally for teenagers to try and control this massive impulse to be next to each other. So when these guys in the comments are saying, like, you know, focus on yourself, they're giving you good advice. But coming from a guy who's older, I'm going to tell you realistically what focus on yourself looks like. Imagine if you just keep pushing away this desire to be with the opposite sex. You're going to focus on yourself, but you're going to be weirdly obsessed with these girls. You're going to have these random days once a week, twice a week, where you randomly go and spend like 2 hours on like Instagram just looking at girls, where if there's a random girl you want a cold approach or whatever, you'll be obsessed with her. You've got no abundance at all. You're in complete scarcity mode. So whilst the advice to like, yeah, focus on yourself, focus on your goals is a good thing, this is a need that if it's not fulfilled, it can be as distracting anyway. Let's say you fulfill this need and you meet a high quality woman. That's based. That's fucking awesome. You're spending like, you know, a couple hours a week with her doing something like really cute and stuff. And you genuinely think like, damn, she could actually have like my children. She's really high quality. That is awesome. That it's going to mature you very well. Imagine if you don't do that. Imagine if you don't find a good girl right now and you keep pushing it off. You're still, in a weird way, going to spend more than a couple hours a week thinking about girls. But now it's going to be more in this negative energy because you don't have it. Now you're going to be, you know, like replying to the girl more on Snapchat who's not even that high quality. Now you're going to be fantasizing more about casual sex with lower quality women. So finding a high quality woman is basically always good for a man, no matter what stage he's in, whether he's successful or he's not, whether he's older or he's not. Finding a really high quality woman is almost always going to be good for you. So focus on yourself, prioritize yourself, but still keep an eye out and still learn to like set up the way that you're going to be attracting these women. I've told you about what's called like the social game, where you're friends with girls and you ask them to introduce yourself. Start setting that up. You could, if you wanted to, you know, like it's not going to make sense for you because you don't want a TikTok girl, but like many other guys will start setting up like TikTok accounts right now and you know, like posing and looking cute or whatever. And you don't want to do that because you don't want to attract a TikTok girl. So you need to find a girl who's basically not really on social media. So the only way to find girls like that is to get their friends to mention that she exists, because trying to cold approach girls, in my opinion, it's not as successful because you can go like an entire week and only cold approach like a few girls and you feel like a bit of a loser when you're getting dressed up to go walk around town center or the gym or something hoping to speak to a girl. And in your normal day-to-day life of going to the school, of going to the gym, you often don't come across that many opportunities. But when you're social with the girls in your school, they will end up knowing a girl who doesn't have TikTok, who doesn't even have Snapchat, and they'll refer you to her. So I'd be setting that up right now. Hey bro, I don't really have advice for you, but I just wanted to say something quickly. I'm 16, but I met my GF when we were both 14. We were both on self-improvements. Obviously, she wasn't perfect on it, and there was, of course, some improvements to make. But I just want to let you know that these types of girls are out there at our age. You just have to find them. Obviously, it can be difficult, but don't lose hope if it's something genuinely important to you. That's a very nice comment. Ollie's got a massive comment here. So he said, first of all, bro, congrats. You're showing great signs of progress in your self-improvement journey. Now, this might sound condescending, but you're 14, bro. Imagine the level of woman you'll be able to attract in 5 years when you've got a 10 out of 10 physique, not just for your age or globally. Now, this is always a good point. Basically, the younger you are and less developed you are, the worse quality woman in general you can attract. But like I said, in high school, there's this weird vacuum vortex where that isn't the case. Like once you're over 18 and everyone is like out of the education system and girls are getting approached by all ages of guys on Instagram at nighttime, whatever, then at that point, in general, like how advanced you are correlates to how good of the woman you can attract. But in high school, it's not the case. In high school, there's literally like loser guys who aren't even that attractive, who are kind of funny, just had a little bit of confidence. They're literally compared to men, they're like literally a 2 out of 10. Compared to other guys in high school, they're like a 5 or something. And those guys can end up attracting genuinely like really high quality girls. So even though you're young right now, and even though technically you can increase your value in the future and end up attracting better quality women, in high school, you actually, in a weird way, still have the chance to meet a high quality girl who's like 14, 15, who's like your age, who also is doing the good habits and hasn't really like discovered the attention from men just yet. So it's like if you're a 5 out of 10, like let's say if you're a 5, like I wouldn't say you are, but let's just say you're a 5, you could meet another girl who's a 5 right now and actually match together. Issue is, 5 years from now, that's not what's going to happen, because that 5 out of 10 girl who's got Tinder, who's been out to nightclubs, who's been approached by 300 guys, who's got guys liking every picture, she now feels like she's an 8. In high school, girls are in general like quite much more humble because they've still got social media, but a lot of them haven't been out to like nightclubs and parties that much, and of course not the girl that you want to be with. So I really think that although that red pill truth is there, that the older you are and the more advanced you are, the higher quality woman you can attract, you're in a very special place when you're in high school, when that's not necessarily the case. Like a lot of guys in high school will say this, there's often a guy who isn't even that great who's dating like an actual beautiful, like high quality girl. In the real world, you often don't see this. In the real world, you'll see like a guy who's kind of fat, fine, but he's like a millionaire and he's like a Chad and he's like really attractive and he's got like huge amounts of like confidence or something, fine. Or there's a guy who's like broke, but he's a Chad, he's got a 6-pack, he's confident as fuck and he can get the girl, fine. In the real world, like once you're over 18, you don't see a guy who's a total loser with a complete and utter like wife quality woman, unless if they were together from high school. High school is a very special place that I actually think you can end up securing like a really like sweetheart kind of girl when you are quite young as well. When you're able to talk to her easily and confidently because you've spoken to hundreds of other people, men and women, and can strike up a conversation with anyone. When you've got a wealth of knowledge, experiences, and funny stories from leveling up. When you can take her on a nice date or holiday and pay for it without batting an eye like a G because you've worked on your business for years. I think trying to date girls who are much older than you right now will give off a mother-son dynamic, which I imagine is not your goal. This is also a very good point. You mentioned, should you date someone who's older? I wouldn't really suggest that, because if you're trying to date like a girl who's like 18 years old, then it brings that whole problem of like, 1, you're too young, she's basically a pedophile, and 2, she's tainted by the modern world. If you're like 15 and maybe there's a girl who's like 16, that I don't think that's a problem. I think like one year gap is like not bad, but it certainly is usually better when the girl's younger than you, because you would then have like more world experience for her. Also, would you let your daughter date at 14? Fuck no. No strong father figure would. I'm not too sure about this, you know. If she's dating like some fucking 16-year-old, 17-year-old, yeah, fuck no, of course not. Would you let your daughter like go on a cute date with another 14-year-old guy who was quite respectful? Imagine like the kind of guys who watch our videos, and imagine him going up to you as a father and saying like, "Oh, Mr. Ahmed, you know, I'd love to take your daughter out to the prom." I'd think that's fucking adorable. If he didn't seem like a degenerate, if he didn't seem like a fucking TikTok boy, like fuck boy, I actually think that like I'd like that. Because again, it's like if my daughter was going to meet a guy who's 14, who's already going to the gym, who's already being productive, who's speaking about self-improvement, I'd be impressed. I'd actually be pushing her towards that. Would I let her sleep around? Fuck no. Would I let her like go out to parties? Fuck no. Would I let her date like some guy I can clearly tell is a fuckboy? Fuck no. Would I let her date a guy who's respectful, who watches these kinds of videos? Potentially, yeah. Like, I want to speak to him. But if it's like some cute little 14-year-old, they're going to go and watch like a movie together at 3 p.m. in the daytime. I don't think a strong father would actually say like no to that. He'd be protective. He'd want to speak to the kid. But I don't think you'd be thinking like, oh yeah, they're going to end up doing some sexual shit. It's going to end up like, like tainting her or anything. So there's certain instances where I actually think a strong father figure would actually let a young man like Pavel date his daughter. Because if you've got a daughter who's 14 years old right now, and you've noticed that she's been paying attention more to boys recently, and then she's like the type of boys that are doing well these days are these fucking TikTok boys, and for a fact they're just slags, they're just low quality guys, they've got STDs and all this shit, right? Then you see a young man who's actually working hard, and he's talking about wanting to be a leader, he's talking about building a business, he's 14 years old, he's doing track and field, he's growing his muscles, he's polite, he's respectful and everything. You'd be thinking like, fuck it, yeah, that he's actually like a good young man right now, he's developing really good traits. Yes, experience with women may be important, but this doesn't mean you should settle ever. Yeah, totally agree. Never ever lower your standards for women. Never do it. You will always regret it. Just be flirty. Approach the girl on the bus and strike up the conversation. No need to escalate it. You're getting experience. See, I would disagree with this because think about it. You go and talk to girls 100%. You should be doing that with all of your age. No matter even if you're on like monk mode and I'm focused on yourself or whatever bullshit. It's just good to be able to talk to people and especially girls, right? So go and do that. Now you said no need to escalate it, but let's say, okay, you've spoke to a girl. She seems to be really fucking high quality. She's beautiful. She's into you. And imagine thinking like, oh, well, I'm just getting experience, so I'm not going to escalate it. No. Like, don't escalate it. If she's like a low quality girl, then of course, walk away. You got the approach. You feel a little bit like confident. You leveled up your social skills. Awesome. If you approach a girl, if you hear of a girl who's really high quality, like literally like potential wife quality, mother of your children quality, she's on self-improvement, she doesn't take drugs, she doesn't party, she's not on social media, bro, then fucking escalate it. Of course. Like, what are you going to do? I'm not going to escalate it because I'm just getting experience. I'm going to wait 6 years till I'm more developed and she's dated 4 other guys in the meantime. No. Like, if you meet a girl, which you might do, it's rare, but you might meet a girl who seems like she's like really high quality right now, then escalate it. So don't escalate things and don't get closer to a girl who isn't high quality. But if you do meet a girl who seemingly is really high quality to your standards, then fucking consider it, of course. Don't think to yourself, oh, I'm just going to wait till I'm older. Because what you're really saying is like, I'd date this girl if I was older. I'm going to be older and I've got more muscle and stuff, fine. She's going to go date 3 guys before then. Why would you, like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I think a lot of us, if I'm honest, are stuck in like parroting like a lot of like fucking self-improvement red pill advice, which is like, yeah, wait till you're older. The point of waiting till you're older in terms of dating is so you can attract a high quality woman. But if you are in that rare moment where you've like noticed you're next to a high quality girl right now, then consider it. In high school, you get more of those moments than you actually realize because many girls around there, their parents haven't divorced, they're not taking drugs or anything. And if they're looking for a bit of masculine guidance, you can come in and basically change the trajectory of their life. So don't think, that red pill advice of like, wait till you're older, you've developed yourself. That's really good if you're not attracting any good quality women right now. Really good advice. Just keep improving. 100%. But as you keep improving in your journey, you will come across some girls that are, like, I have this phrase which is like better than your time. Basically, let's say if you should deserve like girls who are 5 out of 10 right now, you'll randomly come across a girl who's genuinely more like a 9. Like, she's really attractive, she's beautiful, she's cute, she's kind of funny as well, and she doesn't even do like the bad habits. She doesn't smoke, she doesn't vape, she's never touched any of the drugs or anything like that, and she doesn't even have a TikTok. Now that's a fucking desirable woman. Imagine thinking to yourself, oh no, I'm just going to wait till I'm older. No. Like, the point of waiting till you're older is if you're not seeing any girls like that. So the idea is keep improving yourself, red pill mode, okay? You keep improving yourself, male advantage, whatever, keep improving yourself, right? But on this journey, especially for the next few years when you're in high school, you might end up just randomly stumbling upon a couple of girls who are really high quality. It would be so stupid to think to yourself, like, she's really high quality, but I'm just going to keep focusing on myself so that I can improve my value. Because what you're going to realize is, for example, let's say you're 16 years old and you've been lifting weights, business, whatever, right? And you're starting to attract girls who are like 8 or 9 out of 10. You know what's going to be interesting? The moment you all turn 18, suddenly the girls you're going to attract will go down to like 2 or 3 out of 10 because those 18-year-old girls now are all going out drinking, partying, posting more like revealing pictures on Instagram and getting like guys who are 25 messaging them, right? So it's so interesting that you don't need to be older. You just need to be more developed. When you're past 18, when you're 19, 20, at that point, point, the only advice we can give is like, keep improving yourself. But in high school, you do have this rare instance that some girls, like, this sounds bad, but it's like they don't know their value. They don't know that they're like fucking prized possessions, that they're like wife quality material, that they'd be amazing mothers. And so you can come in there when technically she's close to a 9, you're barely like a 3 out of 10 in terms of men, and you're able to attract her and hold her down whilst you keep improving. I see this happen fairly often, and I'm surprised how many guys just parrot the same thing of like, oh, but just wait till you're older, wait till you're older. 100% never stop improving, never stop improving. But if you come across a good quality girl right now, consider it, escalate it, get closer. Remember that it's an infinite game you're playing. You have many, many years ahead of you, and in a few years, maybe in a few months, you will likely look back at yourself making this post and smile thinking, why was I in such a rush? Yeah, 100%. So whilst I'm saying all this, you don't want to be in a rush. You want to basically focus on yourself, prioritize your goals, your fitness, your work, everything. And don't be in a rush in this obsessive state where you're like, oh man, I want to get a girlfriend, I want to get a girlfriend. But just be kind of open to it. Set up your life in a way that you might end up meeting these girls. Like I said, go and be really social. Go and speak to girls. Tell those girls the kind of girl that you're looking for and ask them to set you up. Because that's something that isn't like hard to do. It's not like you're in a rush to do that. It's like, you know, you're randomly doing some social events with everyone. There's like some guys like a birthday party, or you're all going to go to the cinema together when you're all like 14, 15, you know, it's cute shit like that. And you tell the girls in a group of girls, you tell them like, this is the type of girl I'm looking for. Like, find me a girl like that. Who do you know who's like that? And many of the girls will literally like genuinely set you up, and they'll tell you like, oh, Sarah sounds exactly like that. You two will probably get along. And you tell her like, oh, well, we're all going to go bowling next Saturday. You girls are coming, so why don't you bring Sarah? And then you've got a chance to meet her there. And it's not like you're really rushing it. The only reason you feel like you need a high quality woman by 14 is probably because of social media, the hypersexual environment of secondary school, and also probably because you see other posts by other men in here, in and on a school, that make you feel as though you are missing out. This is true to an extent, but like I said, if you imagine a few hundred years ago, the thing is, when you hit puberty, you were technically considered an adult back then. So if you've read the book Hard Times Create Strong Men, it's very interesting. Basically, teenage years is almost like a modern day invention. When a boy and a girl hit puberty, they were just started to be seen as man and woman. And so it seems to me that 100 years ago, 500 years ago, when you were 14, you would have literally been looking to like find a woman to be with at that point. It's too young now, of course it is, whatever, but it's just interesting that was probably a bit more natural for us. This doesn't mean that you need to be like a fucking pedophile or rapist or anything, don't be weird, but it's just something to bear in mind that of course the hypersexualization of like the young people and stuff is of course going to have it. But I actually really do think there's a natural impulse that when you hit puberty, suddenly you're so obsessed with getting a girl. I think there's a natural impulse. Like, I can't imagine in caveman times, imagine having this impulse to basically have sex and being told by the bigger caveman, like, oh no, wait till you're older. That wouldn't have happened, right? So when you would have hit puberty and had these urges, there's a reason why you get these urges. It's your body telling you, like, you could reproduce right now. It's kind of stupid to do that. You're not like successful enough to be able to afford the child and everything. You're too young and everything. You're literally too young to legally have sex, right? But it's just something interesting that a big part of this is the modern day degenerate propaganda, but also a big part of this is your genuine, natural, primal biology. And there's some value in trying to honor that, not to rush into having like underage sex or anything crazy like that, but to just think like, yeah, like in some ways you'd probably fulfill some kind of like natural urge inside of you if you did attract a good woman right now. You are not you're not missing out. You're simply biding your time and becoming more masculine until you are worthy and ready to attract the feminine woman that will be the mother of your children. 100%. Really good point. Remember, just you might end up attracting that woman sooner than you realize. Like I said, high school is a very special place, and it'd be quite nice for you to just open yourself up to the possibility. Focus on yourself, but just open to the possibility that you might even attract a really quality, feminine, beautiful girl right now who literally could be like mother of your children quality when you don't feel like you actually deserve her because you're still a young guy. You might actually end up experiencing that. That opportunity may be soon, but remember to never settle for someone who doesn't meet your standards. This is the golden sentence right there. I wouldn't force it, bro. At that age, it's a lot harder to date, especially if you're looking for a high quality girl, as most people have barely matured yet. I'm not sure if I really agree with that because it's a lot harder to date. Because the thing is, if you're older, like Perez is as well, he's 20 years old and I'm 26, right? It's never really easy to date. I'll tell you right now, my life feels like it's easy mode in terms of attracting girls because I've got like a massive following. Every week, a few girls like messaging me first on Instagram. And of course, they're trying to be cool and say like, oh yeah, your videos are kind of cool, whatever. But it's like, it's quite easy. And I'm very confident and intelligent and educated and wealthy. So it becomes like easy mode to attract girls, right? If you do the work, right? Issue is, it's still never easy to actually date. It's never easy to meet a girl that you genuinely want to like be with, to navigate life with. It's never easy. I would not say that when you're younger, it's harder. If anything, honestly, I actually think that when you're younger, it's easier because you're both closer to being like a blank slate. Like imagine, okay, both of you are 14, 15, you're virgins, you've maybe even kissed like, like one or two like kids yourself or something, when you were younger or whatever, right? That means you're both bringing like a very clean blank slate. It's actually easier to fall in love. It's easier to find a girl who's genuinely compatible with you at this age than it is when you're older, when both of you are bringing like baggage and trauma and exes and all this bullshit now. Now, one good point that Paris has made here is that you've barely matured, and that's a really good point. When you're older, you know more about yourself. You know what you're looking for. You know the direction of life. There's a problem that when young people get into relationships, after a few years, they end up really wanting to go in different directions, and so that can be a problem. But truthfully, let's be honest, even when you're an adult, that's exactly what happens anyway. Anyone who's on self-improvement and moving along with their life, when they're an adult, it's like you mature every year anyway. So this dynamic that, okay, young people shouldn't date because you're not really matured yet and you change a lot. The truth is, even as an adult, when you're on self-improvement, you change a lot anyway. That mindset that like, oh, you shouldn't date when you're young, you should date when you're more of an adult so that you know what you like. That's only for basically Jeffries who aren't even on self-improvement, because by the time they're 18 or 20, their life starts staying fairly stable and consistent and full of expectations, basically. When you're on self-improvement and you're ruthlessly improving and you're working on a business, your life changes so much that like you keep maturing and changing every year, every 6 months. And so you're constantly in this battle to make sure you're both compatible, which you are in high school anyway. So I agree with the points that Paris is making, but I actually really think that getting a girl at this age doesn't mean that it's harder. If anything, it kind of means that it's easier for you guys to connect because you don't have this baggage. But if you do find a girl who's around your age who has good values and you could see yourself growing alongside her, then definitely go for it. I feel for you younger guys with all the degeneracy that's promoted online, but a benefit of being younger might be that fewer girls have been brainwashed into that. That's 100%. So the thing is, loads of young girls are brainwashed into degeneracy, but far more girls when you're 14, 15 have literally never taken drugs, never even thought of taking them, never even hooked up with guys, had sex, done degenerate shit. So you're in look, this is what I'm saying. You're in a pretty good vacuum to find a girl who's really high quality, undamaged by the modern world. To think that you're just going to wait 5 years, 10 years to build more muscle and basically try and attract the same kind of girl, but now she's had 5 boyfriends and she's hooked up with guys. It's almost a bit foolish. 100% always prioritize yourself, always focus on yourself, keep growing, keep improving. But if you meet a girl right now, you might actually end up meeting her before degeneracy has impacted her. Basically, bro, if you find a girl who seems to have good values and a good path, then I'd recommend going for her. But if not, then continue to grow in the ways you can and you could then have a really good dating life in the future. 100%. That's something I completely agree with there. Elliot said, many men are saying to focus on yourself and grow, but I understand it's not easy to take the advice. Everybody is stupid and horny at that age, and honestly, shit just doesn't matter in terms of relationships. If anything, you might even benefit from just getting practice speaking to women, even if they are low quality. I wouldn't recommend that. I think that practice with a low quality woman isn't actually valuable, because this is coming from a guy who's done this, right? I practiced and I got a lot of experience with night-time women, basically degenerate clubs, parties, everything, right? And I was a degenerate too. I got a lot of experience with that. The problem is you're practicing with a different kind of girl than you're going to take the test with. Imagine if you practice on a different subject that you're going to take a test on. It's stupid, right? You practice with the same kind of girl the test is on, right? So don't practice on girls who are low quality thinking you're just getting experience, because what you have to do to attract low quality if we're honest, damaged girls is very different from what you have to do to attract like a wife quality girl. A wife quality girl who's got like a healthy family, healthy father, she's attracted to you being fairly upfront, loving and stable and kind. Low quality girls who are damaged, who are getting dicked down when they're 14 years old, who are taking drugs, who are smoking weed, who are vaping, who are going out to parties, they might seem like they're easier right now, but to attract them, you've got to use like these sort of dark tactics. You've got to pretend you're not into them. You've got to pretend you don't like them. You've got to pretend to be distant, not replying to their messages. And so you can see if you practice with these damaged women, when you start to attract a high quality woman, and it'll be hard for you to not act in the same way to her, to not, like reply faster. And basically, just if you can take my advice for it, this is a mistake that I've made. Don't think that low quality girls are for practice. When you're going to speak to a low quality girl and you're feeling horny, acknowledge to yourself that you're just about to do a bad habit. That's it. I'm not going to tell you like, yeah, definitely don't do it, because I've done it enough in my own life. But what I'm going to tell you is don't think that it's like productive. See it in the same way as like porn and fapping, where it's not productive, but it's like a guilty pleasure. It's like a bad thing you're doing that you want to stop doing. That's if there's like a degenerate girl and you're thinking it's practice or anything. Don't think it's practice. Don't think it's experience or anything like that. Because then when you start to meet like a high quality woman, trust me when I say, it'll be so harder for you to start texting in a way that this high quality girl is attracted to. I remember being a bit younger, experiencing some like high quality girls, and they'd lose attraction in me because I would end up navigating our dating life in the same way that I did with the degenerate girls. So I remember like being in like 20 years old, and there was this really high quality, like this genuinely really high quality woman that I was into, and I wasn't able to even like show her that I liked her because I was always playing these games, because I had learned that from like basically sleeping with low quality girls. I had learned how to be good at basically attracting like damaged women, because obviously I was a damaged guy myself, that I lost this girl who would have been like a really awesome girlfriend, when I was like 20 years old in university. So don't think that practicing is going to make you better. You won't. You don't practice on a different topic that the test is on. Yeah, focus on yourself, but when you get inevitably horny and decide to DM that low quality girl, see it as a temporary thing and recognize that you will grow out of her and many other people. That's a good point as well. How do I find a high value girl at this age? You don't. In other words, focus on yourself, king. Cultivate your garden and the butterflies will arrive. If I'm honest, this sounds so cool. When you've experienced a lot of life, you realize that this kind of advice is really, it's not as good as it seems. You like the guys who are getting girls right now, they didn't just cultivate the garden. They didn't just grow. They learned how to actually be around high quality women. They learned how to like be friends with women. Don't just think like this is the biggest misconception that so many young guys have, that if you just work on yourself, you'll start to attract women. Trust me, it's not that simple. If you just work on yourself and you're like this, it's like guy who's on self-improvement, you'll be seen as like a fucking weirdo who can't speak to girls. You need to be able to be social with girls, with female friends, and just focusing on yourself. Like, this almost seems like what's that word, ironic or like kind of like a joke, like a cringe joke, like focus on yourself, king. Because when you've experienced real life, you'll know that like just focusing on yourself won't just get you girls. You should prioritize your goals. So for example, you shouldn't miss the gym workout to go see a girl. Prioritize your goals, but you need to learn how to actually find girls. You need to have like some kind of strategy where they can come into your life. Just going to the gym isn't fucking enough. I'm telling you right now, the amount of guys who go to the gym and are utterly lonely, the amount of guys who are working hard in careers and businesses and they are utterly lonely. There's a different kind of man who has women come to him naturally. And it's because he set his life up in a way where he genuinely at some points did actually think to himself, like, what's the strategy for me to attract these girls? I've done it. The other guys that I know who can literally slay women, who can attract loads of women, they didn't just improve their value. They specifically spend time strategizing how to get women to come to them. So don't just think, if you focus on yourself, you're going to get girls. You should prioritize your goals. You shouldn't miss a gym workout to be with a girl, but you should also have some kind of strategy where you can meet high quality women and basically have them to enter your life, which means that at some point you need to kind of focus on like actually creating some kind of a life setup where this happens. Like I've told you, is go with the social proof kind of game, the social circle game, where you're around female friends and you display like a confident character to them. You're like the big respectful brother to them. You're like this funny guy guy who the other guys respect, and then you say to your female friends the kind of girl you're looking for, and you tell them, like, be my wingman, introduce me to the girls you know. Do the thing you know you have to do. Don't settle for anyone low quality, but don't expect someone high quality at this age either. You need to grow. You're doing great, bro. You've made so much progress. You could absolutely get one of these low quality girls that are your age. That's true. But imagine yourself in 5 to 10 years. Imagine the kind of quality of woman. Yeah, so basically, don't settle right now. Never settle. Just never fucking settle, right? Don't lower your standards for comfort. Don't lower your standards to attract a girl right now. What I've been saying, like, you might end up meeting a high quality girl. It specifically means keep high standards, and if you meet a woman who meets those really high standards, awesome. If you meet a girl who doesn't meet those high standards, don't do it, because you'll regret it in like the future, in like 3 months' time. Get experience speaking to girls, tune your social skills so that when time comes, you'll be able to attract her. I'm sure you know this already, but don't sleep around. Even if you tell yourself it's just for experience, that's not true. It's just because you're horny. You probably want a woman who doesn't sleep around either, and she's not going to want the version of you who does that. This is really good advice. Live your life with this image in your mind of your future lifelong partner. Continue to become the man she deserves. That's very good advice. My take on this is that there are high quality girls out there when they are 14, 13, and even 12. The problem begins when it comes up to building love and seeing if you two are compatible, because women at these ages aren't mature enough that you would relate to them in any way. If I'm honest, this sounds sexist as fuck. Women at most ages aren't mature enough. When you're a masculine guy and especially when you're like watching videos like this, which are unedited, no dopamine, I'm being honest to you right now. If you've watched all this video so far, 40 minutes of no edits, you are more mature than genuinely 99% of the population. And men on average are way more emotionally mature than women are. So basically, don't think that like, oh, I'm young, the women aren't going to be mature or anything. Like, even when you're older, this is no offense to the women, it's just like a feminine trait. Even when you're older, women aren't going to seem mature to you anyway. I would say that that you are so much more mature compared to your age, you would actually better date a 17 or 18-year-old because you're matched somewhat in maturity. I really don't think so. I think Hendrik's quite a young guy, 17 years old. Realistically, how this works out, as a guy who's experienced this and also seen this with the young men that I help, when you're 17, like when a girl's 17, 18, honestly, she's not more mature than she was at 14. She might know more things. She might be able to take a bus by herself. But in general, a girl who's 18 years old, in a weird way, will end up becoming less valuable than a girl who's like 14. You know why? Because if you meet a girl who's like 14 right now, chances are she's never even done some of those really bad degenerate habits. She's never sucked and fucked some random stranger that she's met. She's never even had dating apps. She's never taken any drugs. That's amazing. Those are really good like green flags. If you think that, date like an 18-year-old because she'll be a bit more mature. The thing is, maturity, like she won't just like suddenly be that different. The issue is she'll have more of like the modern degeneracy that's impacted her. So it's like when you're young, it's not weird for you to date a girl who's really young, right? So like 12 years old it feels far too young. But if you're 13 and you've got a 12-year-old girlfriend, that's not fine. Like no one is going to think that's weird or anything. Of course, if you're 16, that's fucked, right? But if you're like 13 or 14 and you've got like a 13 or a 12-year-old girlfriend, that's not weird. No one thinks it's weird, especially if you're not even having sex with her just yet and you're just like holding hands and shit. That's cute as fuck, right? So when you're young, you can go and basically meet little girls, not in a weird way, but you can meet girls who are your age or 1 year younger than you, who haven't been like literally damaged by degeneracy, and you haven't either. That's a very beautiful like a point to be on. To trade that away for some the weird term of maturity is just strange. I personally wouldn't recommend it. Women who are 13 to 16 are still too young and they just want to have fun. No, bro. Women who are any age just want to have fun. Women who are 80 years old just want to have fun. Trust me when I say all girls just want to have fun, no matter what age they're on. Yeah, sure, when they're 21 years old, they might start thinking about working, and you might call that maturity. Is that the kind of maturity that you would want in a girl, that she works full time and that's her personality trait, that she's had to be more masculine, right? You've got to think of what maturity is. In general, it's your ability to like kind of control your emotions. Men are often very good at that, not modern men, but in general, masculine men are. Feminine women are not very emotionally mature. So you might end up finding a girl who's older and she's like 19 years old and she doesn't just want to have fun and she's more mature because she works full time. But that's probably not the kind of girl that you wanted to attract anyway. When girls are 13 to 16, they usually don't think about family and children as we do. To be honest, even 13 to 16-year-old guys don't think about family and children. Almost no one thinks about family and children at that age. It's just a small percentage of the population who have been raised right, who, for example, girls who are 16 and they've got like a little sister who's half their age and they had to like look after her. So you can get girls who, for example, they're 13 years old and their parents had another child at that point. And so this girl who's 13 ends up getting like this motherly personality because she helped look after her little daughter, her little sister. I would also say that at the age, there could be a lot of good women, but most of them fall off because of modern degeneracy. But you were thinking that I'd save a girl from degeneracy. At this age, as I said, there are a lot of good women out there, but some of them inevitably fall into degeneracy. Also, you just outgrow your partner because she's still too young to think about the future, and women don't grow as fast on men as self-improvement. No, this is actually the other way around. So if you're young right now and you're already on self-improvement, you're developing very well. If you meet a girl who's really young as well, sorry, what was your name? Pavel's 14. Imagine you meet a girl who's 14 as well, or maybe she's 13, right? What's interesting is you'll probably both grow in a very similar rate because you're really hard on self-improvement. If you're in Adonis school and you're literally watching a video like this for 44 minutes, you're serious, right? So it's like you're growing a lot. Women in general mature, like not mature, but women in general change a lot through the ages of like 12 to 16 because they go through puberty, they start developing like bodily, physically, and then, you know, men start looking at them and everything. So it changes a lot of their personality. So women grow as fast as men on self-improvement at this age. It's a rare point when both of you will be growing at a rapid pace. And of course, you might say like, oh, you might grow out of the girl. But trust me when I say this doesn't stop. If you don't plan to stop self-improvement, if you're progressing as fast as you are, I'm telling you right now, this will never stop. No matter what age you get to, you will never stop outgrowing the people that are in your age group if you don't get complacent, because most people at some point will get complacent. So don't think that like when you're young, you'll outgrow your partner, but when you're older, you won't. That will only happen if you get off self-improvement and you get complacent and you go get like a 9-to-5 job. Otherwise, always get ready to outgrow your partner and always push her to make sure that she's doing her self-improvement as well, so that doesn't happen. If you find a woman who is younger and at the same wavelength as you, and things the same about the future, then 100% try it out, but it's super rare. Agree with that. You've heard this message a lot. You're too young for a relationship. Ignore it and give it a try. I suggest you even try with older girls. If they are 16 because you have a good physique and are on a self-improvement journey, I wouldn't remember, because the older she is, this is a very sensitive age. Like I said, it's in a vacuum. If you're 14 right now, you speak to another 14-year-old girl, chances are she's never done any of these bad habits. You start looking towards a girl who's 16, chances are she's already hooked up with like one, maybe two guys. She's already been out to a couple of parties. She's like drank a lot, thrown up in the party, suck some guy's dick in the bathroom and stuff. Like it changes. Like honestly, a girl's experience of life is very different. When she's 13, 14, she's like daddy's little girl. She's wholesome. She's like, you know, just like pure like angel. As soon as she gets to about 15, 16, starts drinking and stuff, it's too like late basically. So I wouldn't suggest purposely going for an older girl. You're not like the other 14-year-olds, so I suggest you give it a try, like going for an older girl. I disagree, because look, you're not like the other 14-year-olds, but you can meet a girl who's not like the other 14-year-olds as well. We'll look for some short comments, because my throat is really dry speaking for like 47 minutes straight. Dennis said, you don't need a GF right now, bro. You're mainly chasing the dopamine of it instead of the long-term purpose of it. I don't actually think so. By the way you wrote the post, I actually think you're thinking of something mature, because if you just said you just wanted to have sex and soon and whatever, like I'd tell you, okay, yeah, like, you know, resist it, don't do that, fine. But the fact you were actually specifically looking for a high quality girl who isn't on TikTok, that to me proves the long-term purpose of it. Because why are you looking for a girl who isn't on TikTok? Well, you're looking because you want to have something serious with her. Hey bro, I struggled with this too, and I realized you'll never really find a perfect girl. I tried for ages and never found one. It was only when I found one that was decent that I then took and made perfect. That can be really good advice. Just remember what I said on a recent video, that if you meet a girl who isn't perfect, that's fine. But if you meet a girl whose foundation, whose baseline, basically when you met her, it wasn't that high quality, and you got her to get onto self-improvement, always be aware that how you found her is where she's going to snap back to when you guys have some kind of problems. So if you found her and she's been going out to parties and stuff, but then you guys got together and she kind of straightened up and stopped being a degenerate, understand that when you guys have some problems, she's going to go out to the parties again. So just be careful for that. It like a lot of people in the modern day say like, oh, you know, no one's perfect. You can never find that type of person. You need to grow with them. If I'm honest, that doesn't really seem to be the case. Sure, you want to be growing with your girl because it's, you know, both of you are growing on self-improvement, but you want to find a girl who's already at a point that you are deeply impressed. I'm going to be straight up. My advice is different from what the rest told you. If you're religious, definitely focus on yourself and do as everyone told you. If you're not, simply fuck every woman you get the chance to. Not fat bitches, since that would be pathetic. But if she looks nice, just smash. One problem is that you shouldn't become a simp and focus too much on these girls. Just do it for fun. If you do get too focused on her, she will eventually break your heart, which is even more motivation. Being known as that fuckboy will increase your status since other men respect you more and you gain a lot of life experience. Once you're older and experienced, settle down for one woman. You won't have the right morally to judge a girl if she ain't a virgin anymore. Just keep that in the mind because you've been a degenerate too. And just an extra advice to which I think is really valuable. If you don't want to focus on yourself and don't want to be a degenerate, don't compete with all those 19-year-olds for 17-year-old girls. Instead, you can start dating a pretty 13-year-old with great genetic potential. If she's younger, she's way easier to manipulate and adapt to your world of view. Joe Up, this is the last comment we'll read. Joe Up usually has really good comments. He said, I was always feeling the same, wanting to date 1 to 3 years up, and I disagree with most focus on yourself king advice. I'm 19 years old, I can box, I can lift more than 99% of Adonis school, above average looking, making a steady 1.5k a month profit, and I wish I would have spent more time and especially courage with dating when I was 14 to 19. Think about it. Literal stick men, idiots, brokies, gamers, hobbits, abusive motherfuckers are all in relationships, but you want to level first. This is very, very true. Get onto your goals, but talk to girls, bro. I wish I could travel back in time and beat some sense into my low self-worth 14-year-old. This is fucking based. This sentence right here. Don't get too trapped in this idea that red pill, masculine, self-improvement. Oh, I'm not going to talk to girls. I need to level up first. When you're 18, 19, 100%, you've missed the chance. Shut the fuck up. You've just got to level up. It's as simple as that. When you're in high school, this is the case for so many guys. They are literally fucking idiots dating the girls that you want, and you're there thinking like, oh, I've got to level up first. When none of these guys can lift, none of these guys are going to the gym, none of these guys are building muscle. If you think you need to level up, the thing is, in high school, you don't need money. You don't need success. You barely even need muscle to attract girls. You just need a bit of fucking courage and confidence. That's it. You don't even need to be that attractive, honestly. In high school, you can go and meet some girl who's like 14 years old, because you're 14 as well, and she's actually weirdly at such a high quality because she hasn't been a degenerate yet. So this is like the thing. And what you're saying, I wish I could travel back in time and beat some sense into my low self-worth 14-year-old self. Exact same. I wish I didn't have this idea that I felt like I wasn't good enough, that I needed to like improve more. You want to be improving. You want to be progressing on your goals. Like he said, get on with your goals, but talk to girls. This is really good advice. I'll read through his replies and then we'll just do this. So he said, what's his lifts? He can, I wonder if this is kg. Oh yeah, kg. It seems like 200 kg. I'm assuming it's kg. Assuming it's not pounds. 200 kg squat, 125 bench, 230 deadlift with 89 to 90. Bro, he's probably bigger than me then. Let's see his picture. Yeah, he's fucking huge. This is the kind of guy you want to take advice from. And he just wrote one more post there. Plus, just for your confidence in getting with 16-year-old girls competing with 19-year-olds, there are plenty that would choose you above 19-year-olds. Don't let competition hold you back. This guy was born a couple of years before me, so he should be able to fuck my future wife if he wants to. What the fuck? Whereas I don't understand what he's meaning there, but yeah, that's all the comments that we'll be reading through. Go click the top link in the description right now to go and join Adonis Gang, which is my free community, and inside of that I have an entire free self-improvement protocol which will help you to really advance in life. That's the top link. So just scroll down right now, go click on the top link and go join, and then go look for the Adonis protocol inside of that. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.